Serious, how can NASA better engage and involve you in our space missions? License the technology behind games like Kerbal Space Program and distribute them for free with NASA branding. Release mods scenarios that walk people through NASA missions firsthand. Hold contests to see if members of the public can come up with clever solutions to potential problems. Hold a contest every 3 months where the public gets to vote on one House representative to launch into the sun. Maybe you can engage on a more personal exchange with people more interested in what NASA and working for NASA conveys. For example, a live stream from space with some regulation, of course, or a contest of some sort. The way I've been taught is that NASA is an unreachable place, designed only for an elite of scientific individuals. I don't consider this my personal opinion, but I've seen that this is one of the reasons that drives interest away. Basically, NASA equals smart people, we equals not as smart people. Edit. I believe I should modify my approach. I've been told in the comments that there have been several live streams of their missions and other interesting input sources in the past. I'm thinking that there should also be an awareness campaign, maybe through a popular channel or medium. Reddit seems to be very fond of NASA, so maybe you could do an AMA, or maybe a NASA representative, or several, could use the NASA subreddit as a not so official, but rather more laid back way of engaging in meaningful discussions with people that are interested in doing so. You should become active in, for example, schools. People in elementary school are often very interested in space. Try having some activity on TV and the internet, and let people know what you do, what you want to do and what you have found in space. Open up a Reddit for the mission. Have team members actively participate in the Reddit. Somewhat unrelated, but if it isn't downright offensive, keep your promise when it comes to online votes. All of the free publicity you would have gotten from Colbert or all the nerds that voted for that Firefly named spaceship could be unmatched. Keep doing AMAs. We have had some very good ones and there was a very exciting one that got cancelled because of the government shutdown. It may sound trite, but just more live cams. Just 24/7 live footage from space. I don't know what would be more subversively interesting than, at any time, being able to look at space from space. It might seem mundane, but I think that kind of stuff will appeal to people more than random facts that don't seem to have a connection to their daily lives. Did you know Saturn is made of pixie dust? It's not the same thing as being able to just tune into the astronaut channel at any time, to be directly and immediately aware that, at this very moment, I am seeing the world from thousands of miles up. I think that would do more than almost anything else. Edit. Also some marketing I guess and public awareness. Maybe team with school districts. Because the ICE channel is a good start, but I didn't even know it existed. If I were a grade school science teacher, I'd have that channel on in my classroom the entire day. No matter what we were studying that day, the younger you spark that interest, the better. From a slightly different angle, NASA needs to sell its achievements better. Opportunity, Viking 1 and 2, Voyager 1 and 2 are still running long after their planned mission ended. The public as a whole needs a better understanding of how little money NASA gets and how much it could do with just a bit more. How to do that is beyond me. Maybe get Miley to lick a few probes or something. Is there a way a common Joe can donate to NASA? I know it sounds silly but I know I'd love to donate to my country's space program. Edit. Some people think the space program is a waste of money because it's not clear how space exploration could benefit society. I think NASA should focus on research in areas which will be able to visibly, tangibly impact people's lives. For example, for areas lacking water, develop unmanned spacecrafts to tow icy asteroids from the asteroid belt into orbits to be chopped up and transported to Earth. To make Mars potentially habitable in future. Similarly shower it with icy rocks to eventually help establish an atmosphere. Ramp up materials and other sciences to move more quickly toward practical alternative energy sources. Get society as a whole behind the space program with real, tangible benefits first, so that NASA and other agencies can build the foundation for future exploration in other areas that offer less tangible but still valuable research. Plus, Doing this for children especially will eventually help more kids become fascinated with science and space and persuade more and more of them to become scientists themselves. There was a guy on a shuttle who did a lot of videos and posted them online, such as the well-known "What happens when you ring a towel out in space?" Keep doing that. I asked my 10 and 11-year-old. The 11-year-old says you need to colonize Mars. The average person would care more if they could be Mars pioneers. The 10-year-old wants a kid's space program. Send a teen into orbit the ice. They also mentioned space camp. Maybe partner with local museums to provide a mini space camp as a destination class trip, 3-day weekend or something like that. Maybe their parents could pay to come a chaperone. Also, and I mean this seriously, you could raffle off a NASA experience. $1 a ticket. You'd make giant budgetary strides. I got a kick out of curiosity having a Twitter feed, but really, for me, I want to know what your end game is or how what you're doing is relevant to me. I think space is cool and all, but there are only so many awesome pictures of nebulae I can look at before the shine wears off. So, I guess along with the shiny pictures, give me content without as much dumbing down or PC babble. Honestly, the PR done for curiosity, with 7 minutes of terror and other informational videos were done exceptionally well. Public opinion will improve as awareness of what the missions are really accomplishing, like landing a Mini Cooper-sized object on a planet using a jetpack. I recommend making small shareables like short awesome videos or infographics that can sweep easily across social media. If used properly, social media can be as effective as structured advertising and outreach. Also, keep up with the competitions. I'm involved in 2 at the moment and I love it. Edit. Thanks for the gold, anonymous stranger. What you did with the Curiosity landing was fascinating. Those kinds of moments make me, a fairly strict libertarian, see what a federally funded space program can accomplish. I got caught up in the excitement of the landing and the mission and what it took to get there. Stream more mission activities, even if it's just over the internet. Live tweet them. Tell us what you're doing. Hell, I'm sure lots of people would love to see your meetings, brainstorming sessions. Even some guy looking at pictures of space at a computer would be interesting to someone. You never know what might inspire your public. Just by telling us what you're doing you go a long way toward making yourself indispensable to the public. Call them one small step moments. More of those. Assuming outreach budgets are about to get slashed, I respect that funding to get the word out will be limited. As such, why not promote more amateur elements into space missions? Let people know how they can participate in projects with NASA in their own communities. The more interactive the process, the better the outreach will be. People don't mind being told what NASA does or can do for them. But there are many hobbyists out there that want to be part of what's going on. This next idea might be a bit more pie in the sky, but promote a more open source space mission. Getting students and young professionals involved. Building collaborative projects, even if they don't directly influence NASA missions, serve to bring people together, linking people from dissimilar backgrounds, but with similar interests. And this can result in some amazing innovation. Consolidating such public outreach to a single site might help, or it might be a nightmare, since NASA is a large organization with myriad mission foci, offering public online lectures, online collaboration tools, etc. might be a good idea. Personalities like Chris Hadfield, make yourselves relatable. The one thing I don't like about NASA is your website. I am a web developer, and I have a hard time using it. There is stuff everywhere and it's hard to navigate. Also, the streams are usually either broken or so busy that you can't watch them. It would be good if you could use YouTube as your streaming platform, because they are probably the only ones that can realistically handle the load without costing tons of money, and then embed the streams onto the website. I would love to see the website completely redesigned. I am a professional software engineer. What do you need written? Edit. Alternately, help Hollywood produce something akin to the original Star Trek. That show created more scientists and engineers than anything else I can think of. I think it would be awesome to have like a NASA app, one that tells you where any given man-made space object is at any given moment in real time. It would also be cool to include like a constellations map, And maybe like a blog and some space NASA related trivia. Create a Vine account and take daily requests for vines from spas. Dear mods, I am actually serious. Attention, please keep in mind that the OP of this thread has chosen to mark this post with the serious replies only tag. Therefore any replies that are jokes, puns, off topic, or are otherwise non-contributory will be removed. If you see others posting comments that violate this tag, please report them to the mods. Thanks for your cooperation and enjoy the discussion. I am a bot. Our auto moderator comments Q11 per what is auto moderator, and this action was performed automatically. Please contact the moderators of this subreddit. Message composed to equals %2fr%2f AskReddit if you have any questions or concerns. When I was a little girl in the 70s, our military family was stationed at Maxwell AFB in Alabama. I was in 3rd grade when I learned space camp existed. From that moment till today, I'm 52. It was my dream to attend one day. This is the only thing I remember really wanting, yet even my young mind knew it would probably never happen. As I grew into young adult, my desire was always there, so I packed my dream and saved it for my daughter. I promised myself that by hook or by crook, I would send my only child, Claire, to space camp. Life happened and the opportunity was never realized. I tell this story to say my advice would be to get in the schools, excite the young about space, have lots of scholarships and opportunities for the kids of the world to experience something NASA. My hope now is maybe I will somehow be able to send my grandkid. Thanks for the opportunity to voice my opinion. Linda from Texas. What do kids love more than anything these days? Video games. Why not make KND of like an app that is sort of interactive and walks you through the steps of each mission? Say you are sending a satellite into orbit. Develop a mission for that app that takes you through how to physically launch a satellite that high. Make it directed towards educational purposes and aimed at early teens. I would love that, and I am almost 20. I recently heard Mike Massimino on the Nerdist podcast. Astronauts who have the ability to communicate like he does are probably your best resource. Not sure if they do this already, but give each mission its own website that is interactive in some way. Find a way to let us crowdfund you. I think the problem you're running into is that Reddit and the majority of online communities already care about space and NASA. You're basically asking for ways to better preach to the choir. NASA used to be part of the lives of every American, and I'd venture to guess many other folks from other countries who don't have the money to fund large space programs. Every average Joe knew what was up with the program, if not in specifics, then at least in broad terms. NASA was a point of pride. We were doing something better than any nation on Earth. But we were also including other nations in our endeavors, teaming up for the betterment of the world. The general public simply doesn't care anymore, and that sucks. There might be a 5-minute segment on CNN about a Mars rover if it's a slow news day. Honestly, I think the lack of public support is due largely to the fact that the missions are becoming stale to most people. And again, that sucks. Because what you guys and gals are doing is amazing. Without larger budgets for more ambitious projects that involve actual human interactions with space. I love curiosity, but let's face it, a robot isn't nearly as interesting as a human on Mars. I don't think NASA will get to the levels of adoration it bathed in the 20th century. More publicity on the technical achievements of your missions, their purposes, and the results discoveries. From what I can see, people don't know the difference between things as different as Pathfinder and Curiosity. It's just another rover on Mars, taking pictures of rocks. Why are we sending another one? Didn't we do that already? Partner with Fox or someone. Make getting to Mars a reality show. Start with hundreds of contestants. Put them through months of physically and mentally grueling tests, like you would normally but with more theatrical value. And then sit back as Pepsi and Sony pay your budget tenfold. I know for a fact that there are a lot of people that really just do not get how the space program helps them. There is also no real sense of how do I get a job related to space travel. What do space people do? Letting people really know the hows and whats of the field and how the program betters society will go a long way. Something that people could hop online at any time and do that makes them feel like they're contributing to the mission in some way would most likely be a big hit. Crowdsourcing more things such as voting for the next experiment in space. Personally, I have been very excited with New Horizons since its launch, but I'm not sure where to best get information about it, so I use Wikipedia. It would be cool if there were maps displaying the location of all of these satellites and rovers. For example, so we could see where opportunity has been on Mars, or so I could see how close New Horizons is to Pluto. It would also be cool to get email notifications about specific endeavors, such as New Horizons, so I can see when it passes the orbit of Neptune, or so I can see when it's arriving to Pluto. I usually hate emails, but this kind of thing would be cool. Edit. Thanks for the gold. As a Canadian, I'd recommend reviewing what Chris Hadfield has done to involve Canadians in our space program. He was very active on social media during his stay on the ice, did 2 AMA sessions, 1, 2, here on Reddit, and even produced a very touching music video. Some other links from his activities. Launch a mission to Mars. Equip mother robot with many baby robots, preferably around 500,000 of these babies. Let anyone around the world buy rent one of these robots so they can control them via remote web browser. The draw is that this is the closest thing they can experience on Mars. Allow 500,000 people to buy or rent one of these mini crawlers controlled via web. Create a site for it and make it a social experience. I can already see people drawing dick pictures and holding rover races. Not only will this fund the Mars but it also raises awareness, makes it fun, and makes younger people endorse space missions for the coming decade. Do it. In general, I think NASA needs to do a better job of explaining what the public gets out of space exploration. A lot of people see the yearly budget and wonder why are we spending that up there when we have all these issues down here. They don't realize that the budget is only half a cent on the dollar. I don't think that most people know the benefit and all the technological advances we have gotten from the space program. They just see a picture of some red rocks on Mars and think, how much did that cost? You guys need to show tangible benefits down here from doing things up there. Just talking about the science won't work. People who aren't interested in that won't care. And the people who are already know the benefits. You need to come up with a way to explain how each mission benefits everyone down here. Put out advertisements or something. You have to sell what you are doing. Make a TV commercial about we are NASA and here's all the awesome things you use every day that wouldn't be possible without the space program. I hope that made sense. Just my random thoughts typed on my phone. This is going to get buried. Instead of releasing sandbox games where you build indescript spaceships, build games where people actually are building designs for actual launches. Give the parameters and the challenges and let people pick which parts of the challenge they want to resolve. There are some very smart people out there with very smart solutions. If NASA is funded by the public, involve the public. Let us have a shot. Almost like the protein game. Massively outsourced missions to the massive public. Someone would be proud to be a part NASA, even if they weren't paid. So that's my proposal. Easy. Manned missions now. First, let me ask you how feasible it would be to put cameras on space vehicles that are launched or are landing during a mission. Do more videos like Chris Hadfield did. Build a moon base. Put a person on Mars. Build a cannon that launches materials into orbit. I can't care about NASA until it actually attempts those goals. Or something equally ambitious. Our progress in space is nowhere near where it ought to be. Neil Armstrong's small step was supposed to be the first, not one of the last. NASA stopped reaching for the stars before I was even born. Congrats on putting that Tinker toy on Mars, though. Super duper exciting. I would really like to be able to contribute in a meaningful way. Give me a piece of data or a photograph that's mine to analyze before it gets released to the general public. And then NASA and me can submit our findings together simultaneously and see if come to the same conclusion. Rather than a peer review. A public stab at piecing information together. I'd like to see an interactive map of the solar system that shows where all of NASA's active and past missions are right now. It'd be great to click on a mission and be shown pictures and explore what we have learned from the mission itself, as well as the technologies that had to be created to do the mission and their applications outside of NASA. In regards to the video game idea, why not sponsor Kerbal Space Program? Playing that game correctly, it's a sandbox game. But imagine not being around so much, is a massive learning experience. I studied Kepler's equations a bit and derived useful interception logarithms for orbital rendezvous due to KSP. They might not need the help so much, since they seem to have it all under control, but an official nod to you guys would be a huge boost in public interest. A lot of these suggestions are pretty vague, so I'm going to give something specific that I'd really like to see done. A run through of each component you'll see on a liquid rocket booster, why it's there, the technical hurdles overcome to get there, and why it's designed like this and not in another way. For instance, I'd really enjoy how exactly you move so much fuel so fast and regulate its flow, or how the gimbal system works, its functional parts, how it's affected the overall design etc. I'd really just love them in a series of videos going really in depth into really specific features of any part of your manned autonomous missions. Follow Neil deGrasse Tyson's lead. If you have more people like him, get them out in the public and on YouTube or whatever. Also, the videos done from the space station recently where they answer people's questions is totally a step in the right direction. Never knew how women wash their hair up there, and now the mystery has been solved. I have been engaged since Mercury, Gemini, Apollo. You got me, NASA. I'm hooked. If I had my way, all the hundreds of billions we currently spend on the war machine would be diverted to you, and you could disseminate the money on the private sector to get some real returns. Unfortunately, there is no checkbox on my tax forms to say, give the money to NASA. Draft pick. But instead of soldiers we get to be astronauts. I'd like to see NASA do more to encourage private space exploration, with a focus on helping profitable businesses get started. Billion-dollar research missions can be very interesting, but sustainable space travel depends on the ability to make money. This is late, so I hope you see this. I would suggest a PR campaign in major cities and college campuses. Run a live launch party where you have a video of the launch, but leading up to it have a presentation, Q&A, or workshops educating people on NASA's mission, etc. If they send me to space, I'll Twitter about it, post selfies in the centrifuge on my Instagram. I'll even post on my Facebook that I'm feeling happy in the sun at Cape Canaveral. I promise. I'll be totally engaged and involved. Hashtag NASA everything. Damn you, serious replies only. My answer would have been send me to space. I love photos. Anything NASA takes a picture of I would probably love. NASA coffee cups filled with pens and pencils would be upvoted. But close-ups of actual science stuff works too. Simulation CGI videos of missions are cool too. I think the best thing overall though is keeping the interest of children. I'd love to retire on the moon someday, but I likely won't have any involvement in the space industry other than my feeble attempts to make it there via model rockets. We must keep children interested and engaged in space and how awesome it is. I love Planetary Resources Kickstarter that will provide teachers and classes time on one of their telescopes. That is just way cool. I remember how much I loved NASA as a kid. I am not sure when I lost my love of the stars. Somewhere in school I made up my mind to do business school and make more money. I live in a city where I can hardly even see the stars at night. Me? I need more pictures of the stars. Make interactive media that can help to inspire interest in space exploration. Programs such as Space Engine can really show off just how little we've seen and how amazing it is out there. Some NASA official mods for the Kerbal Space Program would be cool too. I like the things going on over at Zooniverse. Also maybe a place for public input on possible experiments to conduct in space. Europa Below Ice Robot. Just do it. I admit, my response is not really the question you asked, but seriously already, do this thing. Make mods scenarios for our Kerbal Space Program that teach us about the missions. I'm serious. It's an extremely accurate, solar system scale physics engine, and is highly customizable. I've always thought space was cool, but having a realistic environment to build spaceships and learn about the physics orbital mechanics has fascinated me in a new way. Let us play along, learn about being engineers and astronauts, and develop a deeper connection to NASA's mission. Also, have you seen how vocal gamers get when you don't release a sequel on time? Just ask Gavin. Make mobile apps for the missions, not just websites. How zeros are websites? Seriously? Apps can be played with on the bus, in classrooms, standing in line, all the places people take a few minutes to check up on something. Make the apps awesome. They must have the beauty and simplicity of Star Trek UI mockups and must present interesting up-to-date information and interaction in almost game-like ways. In fact, seriously consider the whole gamification phenomenon. They must link directly into social systems. Conventional message forums and Reddit Twitter systems are the obvious candidates. But maybe something else. Some that taps the social media idea. The fact that people want to interact with other people together while exploring these projects they love. More videos from space. I'd gladly tune into a 24/7 live stream from a random satellite. Put people on a spacecraft and have them actually go somewhere. That hasn't happened in over 40 years, but I still remember how amazed my 10-year-old self was. It is the single reason that I've backed funding NASA, at whatever level is necessary, to continue outward, Moon or Mars colony. When publicizing a mission, keep in mind that the general public is more interested in where you are going than the name of the mission, especially if different parts of the mission have different names. The general public also doesn't know what various partners like the JPL do. I think most people's first stop is www.nasa.gov.